A few days ago, I was coaching a gentleman named Luke out of the UK who asked me, should I tell my ex that I'm going no contact? And it led to a very interesting conversation because basically what was happening was that Luke was afraid of pushing his ex away. And so he was trying to figure out, do I soften the blow or do I give an explanation to this person as to why I'm not going to be reaching out to them first? And it was a beautiful question because Luke and his significant other actually did not have a very bad breakup and they were close friends. But as I told Luke, it is very important for you to stop treating your ex as if you were still together. Of course, when you're in a relationship, when you're in a committed relationship, you have to provide your significant other with some perspective and insight as to why you're not going to reach out to them. But after a breakup, the dynamics have changed and you cannot continue to act the way that you acted when you were together after you're no longer together. Otherwise, your ex is going to start to feel like they have to set boundaries, that they have to remind you that you're no longer together, that they have moved on and that you need to move on too. And one of the very important elements of this process is to not give your ex an opportunity to remind you that you guys are no longer together. And that's a perfect example of that. I told Luke, listen, you don't have to do this. Just pull away. It is going to become abundantly clear. Let your actions speak rather than your words. Because the more you talk or try to convey to your significant other that you are trying to change, that you're trying to evolve, the less you're going to surprise them in some ways and the less credible you're going to be. Do the work, take a step back, and let them come to the conclusion that you have evolved, that the dynamics have changed. Let them feel the consequences of their decisions rather than trying to provide them with reassurance. Of course, as I told Luke, you don't have to ignore them if they reach out. And if they ask you, why haven't you reached out? Or are you okay? You haven't reached out to me for a few days after you've been bombarding them for quite some time. Then it's okay to shed some light and say, yes, I realized I needed to take some time for myself to gain clarity, to rebuild myself, to move forward. And the more you do that, the more you pull away on your own terms, not because your ex is blocking you or setting boundaries or asking you to stop reaching out, but because you choose to do so, the more we will create room for them to take ownership of that process of rebuilding that relationship with us. There are some cases where it is important to tell your ex that you're going to take a step back. If you have children together or if it's completely out of character, I don't want your ex to feel like you're trying to manipulate them. And I don't want you to also really hurt the dynamic, the co-parenting dynamic, for example, by all of a sudden not communicating with your significant other. You have to read your reality and you have to do what's best for your child. So no contact does not necessarily entail not reaching out. It simply means, in this case, not having emotional conversations, not talking about us, not talking about the past, not talking about a future together, and instead keeping conversations short, positive, upbeat, and centered around your child or the administrative dealings that you still have to share. And if you're able to do this consistently, you will see that you're going to make progress. And it's not necessary to convey to your significant other, hey, I'm going to take a step back now to work on me. Just do it. Actions over words in general is the way to go. If you feel that you're in a unique situation and you're unsure whether you should kind of provide some context or some explanation to your significant other, drop it in the chat and it'll be my pleasure to try to steer you in the right direction. I also want to convey to you that I started a podcast with my colleague, Coach Alex, Really, it's a conversation around healing, around separation, around rebuilding healthy love. And I encourage you to go check it out. It's new, it's amazing, and it will enable you to really deepen your understanding of what a healthy process of breakup recovery can look like. And it will also give you tools to turn the pain and the crisis into growth so that you can really rebuild that healthy foundation the right way. I will put the link of the podcast in the description of this video. If you haven't done so yet, check it out, subscribe, let me know your thoughts, if it's helpful or not, what you want me to talk about with Coach Alex, what type of questions you want me to raise. And it'll be my pleasure to also perhaps, provide you with contextual guidance and also maybe a shout out or a question that you have for me that I can raise on the podcast with Coach Alex. Thank you for your trust. Keep fighting the good fight, and see you soon.